Today we finish up our look at the 10 commandments. The last reflection on the 10th commandment, do not covet. So, said a lot about coveting and gratitude so far. Today I want to talk about the sort of secret behind all of this. How do we conduct our lives in such a way that, that we're not filled with desire, instead we're filled with gratitude? So I want to read to you Philippians chapter 4, beginning with verse 10. This is Paul writing from a prison cell. And he says, I rejoiced greatly in the Lord that at last you renewed your concern for me. Indeed, you were concerned, but you had no opportunity to show it. I am not saying this because I am in need, for I have learned to be content whatever the circumstances. I know what it is to be in need, and I know what it is to have plenty. I've learned the secret of being content in any and every situation, whether well-fed or hungry, whether living in plenty or in want. I can do all things through him who gives me strength. Paul is making quite a claim here. He says he knows the secret of contentment in the face of every circumstance, including torture and death. Think about how much money people spend, how much money you and I spend buying stuff, often with the hope that the car, or the clothes, or the food, or the therapy, or whatever is going to bring contentment and happiness. Paul says, I know the secret to contentment and happiness. And he writes from a first century prison cell in Rome, which is not like a prison cell today. He writes from a very horrible place, and he says, I'm fine. So what's his secret? What does he know that perhaps others do not? Well, I want to suggest two things here from the text. The first is he is looking at his experiences and he's mined them. He's had abundance and he's had want. And he knows the limits of circumstances to change your heart when your heart is moving in the right direction. So one of the ways, and this is sort of a philosophical tool, one of the ways that you can understand things, truth, is to push things to their extreme. It doesn't work in every situation, but if you multiply something to the extreme, do you see, does it work there? Does it work in the absolute absence? What can I learn from this? And he's saying, look, I have learned, I've been in situations of plenty where I've had everything, where I've been the top of the top, and I've been at the bottom of the bottom in prison cells, going without food, and I have learned things about those circumstances. I've learned that I can be content in any and every situation. The other thing that comes from the passage itself is to say the secret of that contentment is actually, it's Christ. It's God. It's service to God. It's knowledge of God. It's God's approval. I know, okay, yeah, Woodruff, you're a pastor, you got to say that, you're supposed to say that. This just sounds like such a glib, trite cliche. But I do want to say that the heart of the matter is our relationship with God. Paul writes coming out of knowing that we were created for God. Our heart knows that there is a God. Paul will write in Romans and say that we can deny that, we can suppress the truth. But the truth is the truth. Our heart knows deep down that there is a God and that we were made for this God, and we're not going to have the kind of contentment that we're after until we are at deep peace with God. And so I want to say, sort of as a summary to the 10th commandment, but also as a summary for the 10 commandments, God is giving us direction, practical moral guidance about how life works and how to live. And it starts with a right relationship with God. And there's a sense in which this 10th commandment bookends that and says, our ability to control our desires is all about pursuing God more fully. Have a good day.